Hi, I'm back. Time to defrost this channel again before I lose all my subscribers. I don't know whether or not it will be announced by the time I upload this video, but it seems pretty likely that Pierre Gasly will be moving to Alpine for the 2023 F1 season. And to me, the move just makes sense. So in this video, I want to explain why it makes so much sense, and also give my 2 cents on who I think will replace Gasly at AlphaTauri. So without any more waffling, let's get into it, shall we? So first of all, why am I so sure that Pierre Gasly is going to end up with Alpine? Well, there are a number of reasons. First and foremost, with Piastri now officially going to McLaren next year, Alpine are probably getting a bit desperate, and will have to resort to buying contracts out, which is exactly what they'd have to do with Gasly. Secondly, Pierre was overheard in Ferrari's most recent full access video talking about finalising the details of a contract, and it makes the most sense that this would be with Alpine. For those of you who haven't seen the clip yet, here it is. Thirdly, Helmut Marko has mentioned that Yuki Tsunoda is in a good place to become the AlphaTauri team leader next year, and while of course this could just be because he's growing as a driver, it certainly sounds like the current team leader in Pierre Gasly is on the way out. Finally, some well-known motorsport journalists have claimed that Red Bull are happy to let Gasly go as long as they're paid a certain fee, and while there's no proof of it just yet, it's not often that when multiple journalists make these claims, they're wrong. So, why could this move be so good? Well, on the driver side of things, in the nicest way possible, Pierre hasn't got much of a chance to go back to Red Bull, which is the primary reason to stay in AlphaTauri. Going to a team like Alpine gives him a genuine chance of long-term success, and a chance to leave the Red Bull Junior program that hasn't always been good to him. Back in 2019, they put him alongside Max Verstappen when he really wasn't ready for it, and then demoted him after half a season. Since then, he's genuinely become ready to race for the main team, but since 2019, they haven't really taken him seriously. So, moving away from the program is probably the best thing for him. And plus, the AlphaTauri team, although it's run by some very capable people, is still sort of a B team, and therefore is never going to be a top team. This season especially, it's been rare to see both drivers reaching Q3, and Gasly's only scored 18 points compared to 66 at this point last year. With the cars sort of locked in until 2026, it's not likely we'll see AlphaTauri grow to be a top 4 team like Alpine are, so moving to the French team for Gasly would obviously be a step up from where he is now. Now, another reason to be excited for this potential move is one that Pierre might not be too excited about. It's well known that Gasly and Ocon are not the best of friends, and so there could be tensions within the team that boil over, and therefore provide some fierce battles on track which will no doubt be good to watch. It'll be important for Alpine to regulate these two, and if you remember back to 2018, it was the same team principal in Otmar Safnauer who had to look after the battle between Ocon and Perez. It's not like he's inexperienced in managing a difficult driver pairing. Let's just hope for his sake that he doesn't have to, but between you and me, I hope things get spicy. Now, speaking of the team's role in this, let's talk about why the move is so good for the team. Of course, their hand has been sort of forced in the last 2 weeks, having lost both Fernando Alonso and Oscar Piastri, but even so, it's not like they'd be drawing the short straw with Pierre Gasly. Since he left Red Bull halfway through 2019, Gasly has been a very successful midfield driver, taking his first win 2 years ago and taking a podium last year as well. If you were after a driver who can get the most out of your midfield car, you'd probably turn to either Gasly or Lando Norris, and seeing as Norris is signed on to McLaren for the next 5,000 years, it's Gasly you'd be looking for. As well as that, there's a lot of sponsor appeal to having 2 French drivers racing for a French team. It's not just the charm factor, as because both drivers speak French as their first language, it makes PR appearances in France for sponsors very easy. And of course the French F1 fans are more likely to have one of the 2 French drivers as their favourite driver, meaning that when French sponsors want to make a promotional video or something, the French F1 fans will see their favourite driver endorsing the product and be more likely to buy it as a result. I mean, the same appeal works on me every now and then. Most recently when I was looking for products to clean my car with, and I bought some stuff from Armour All, as they sponsor Red Bull. Anyway, I'm sure you all know how sponsorships work, so I won't bore you with it again. And although I said the 2 drivers fighting might be a bit of a nightmare for the team results-wise, I'd say it's safe to assume if they do fight on track there will be a lot of attention focused on them, and therefore on the sponsors on the side of the car. For Alpine, it's definitely a risk, with their main rivals having what seems to be such a strong partnership in Norris and Piastri. If the 2 drivers slow each other down by fighting, then they could end up losing out to McLaren and therefore losing out on a lot of money. But with risk comes reward, and if things go well with the 2, then it could be a good partnership for both PR and pace. Will Gasly be as good as Alonso has been for the team? Realistically, probably not, but Alpine don't really have many options now. And even though Ricciardo's a free agent, it's not like Alpine will be desperate to pick him up given how poor he's been this year and how he ditched them just 2 years ago. Now, buying out Gasly's contract from AlphaTauri won't be cheap by any means, and Alpine might be in a tough financial position anyway, seeing as they've just had to pay McLaren a lot of money after losing the court case. However, they won't have to pay Gasly as much as they pay Alonso, so they should be alright. Of course, Red Bull have the power to dictate how much they want for Gasly, but I have a feeling they won't make it too difficult for Alpine. Because, after all, the AlphaTauri team is meant for drivers aiming to get to the main team, and bringing Pierre back probably isn't the thing they'll be most keen on. But this begs the question, which junior driver do they put in the team to replace him? Well, the highest placed Red Bull Junior in the Formula 2 standings at the moment is Liam Lawson, so that would make the most sense. I'm not too sure where he stands in terms of super license points, but presumably he'll earn some more this year and should be able to race in F1, maybe with a few more outings in testing. However, although signing Lawson makes the most logical sense, especially now Yuri Vips is out of the picture, the talk in the paddock is actually pointed to someone else. Colton Herta. Currently, Herta races for Andretti Autosport in IndyCar, and although this season hasn't been as good as the previous two, he still took a race win at Indy during the GMR Grand Prix. As well as the Indy stuff, Herta is currently the McLaren test driver and drove the 2021 McLaren earlier this year. Of course, the 2021 cars are very different to 2022 ones, but McLaren has stated after the test that they were very impressed with Herta, and as Daniel Ricciardo has proved to us all, impressing McLaren isn't always the easiest thing to do. The one thing that's restricting Colton Herta from getting an F1 seat is his lack of super license. He's currently 2 points short, but seeing as the super license system is mainly designed to stop terrible drivers just buying their way in, I'm fairly sure the FIA will approve Herta's license even without those final 2 points, simply because he's proved in the past that he isn't just a rich guy paying his way in. And although the FIA aren't likely to take this into account, Red Bull don't tend to hire bad drivers, do they? As far as I'm aware, neither Red Bull nor AlphaTauri have used both their FP1 outings that they have to per the F1 rules, so my guess is that after Herta is signed, if he does get signed, they'll put him in for FP1 for both teams at 2 races this season. That way he gets the most experience with the current F1 cars. Herta joining AlphaTauri would explain the team's comments about Tsunoda being the lead driver next year, and perhaps the reason Gasly was kept to the team for this year was so that Tsunoda would get the chance to learn off him, before he takes Gasly's position and another driver would learn off him. Now, in another video we'll talk about Tsunoda's chances of getting to drive for Red Bull, but this one is focused on Gasly, and seeing as there's not too much more I can say about him, I'll pass the mic over to you in the comments. So, who do you think will drive alongside Ocon for Alpine next year? And if it is indeed Gasly, then do you think it's going to be a good partnership? I'm looking forward to seeing what you all have to say. But with that, I'll love you and leave you, and I promise I'll make another video sooner rather than later. Thank you for making it to the end of this one though. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and if you do that, then I will see you in the next one. Bye!